Hello, people of YouTube. It's Deepak here, and welcome to the DCS news stream for the 8th of March 2025. Apologies, no tutorial video this week. I again ran out of time. Filming for the Apache is so much more complex that I need quite a bit of time, so I'll try and get back onto it next week. However, we do still have the DCS news, as always. Welcome to the stream, Tog. Sorry that your head is hurty. I hope you start to feel a bit better. Hello, Robbie Hobby, Tea Kettle Barbecue, Mr. Yeti, Whoopaz, James Fenton, Mark S, JP Gibbon, Pink Floyd. Yeah, there you go. First comment. Where's the beard? It's gone. Hello, Irish Pat 64. Hello, Aribus Vidar. Yes, this is a temporary thing. The beard will be coming back, so don't worry. Don't panic, chat. Don't panic. Everything's okay. And as always, I have with me the one and only John Bloor. Hello there, sir. Who does have a beard?
I do, yeah.
This is the most important thing this week. Who does and does not have a beard?
Yeah. Yeah,
Actually,
it's, you just gave it to me. You just sort of like you just sent it through the mail, and I've just glued it on with, like, PVA glue, so it's yeah,
uh-huh.
that's what
It's
yeah,
not ginger enough to be mine.
no.
So yes, chat. Everybody in chat, tell us if you do or do not have a beard. That'll be a bit of fun. Nico, welcome to the stream. Interesting story. Mark S. No beard. I call imposter. Yeah, I definitely look different. I've been freaking people out in the real world by not telling them and then just turning up in places, and they've been very confused. So it's been a bit of a laugh. So yes. Like I said, no tutorial this week, but I'll try and get back on the case next week. So we do have some DCS news though. And let's jump into the Eagle Dynamics newsletter, as we often do. And let me just adjust my browser window just a little bit, because there are various circumstances under which Discord video disappears, and I'm trying to make it not do that. So, John, you're still visible, right? Yeah, you're still visible.
Yeah,
Excellent. Pink Floyd, I have a beard like a mad Russian.
that's great.
Irish Pat 64, are you dating a proper woman, Deepak? No. It's this is something I imposed on myself. Don't worry. B Denson. Good evening, all.
For a second there, I thought you say you weren't dating a proper you're like, "No, she's not a proper woman." I was like, "How dare
No.
you?"
I'm not going to make any. I'm not going to make any comments one way or the other.
Are we gonna see, like, a laser sight from the side, like, just flickering around on your head as you say, "Yes, yes, I am."
And then I start blinking Morse code.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So we're excited to announce our Spring Sale 2025, bringing fantastic discounts on a wide range of DCS World modules, terrains, and campaigns. Whether you're a seasoned virtual aviator or a newcomer looking to broaden your horizons, there's no better time to add the next thrilling asset to your hangar. Yes, so I've always kind of said when it comes to the DCS modules, wait for the next sale, because there is always one in like a few weeks' time. It doesn't feel like it was that long since we had, what would have been the previous one, like Chinese New Year or something. I don't even
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. New Year's, yeah. Then you had the Christmas ones. Honestly, it's a bit like the DFS, isn't it? It's like when are they
Yes.
not on sale? So, yeah, it's if you time it when there's not a sale and you buy something, I almost feel like you've messed up there. Oh, have I disappeared? Oh, there
Yeah,
I'm back.
sorry about that.
Right.
I'm going to do it this way so that you don't disappear, and that should work better.
There you
I
go.
was setting up
Easy.
the video, you see.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think it's at a stage now where like yeah, you'd have to be pretty unlucky to kind of buy a module when it's not on sale.
Yeah,
And I always tell people just wait for a sale, each time.
yeah, it'd be very unfortunate to spend all that money.
Yeah.
Byron Farrow, beards rock. I agree. I'm a big fan of beards. Again, this is temporary. Give me a few weeks. We'll be back in business. Novi, and here I'm beardier than I've ever been in my life. We're living in a strange timeline. There was a period when people were asking if I was morphing into Dot Chuckles, because I'd shaved my head and I was growing out my beard. So yeah, there's when it comes to people, there's like a slider, and it's like towards Dot Chuckles, and then I don't know what the other end would be.
Hmm.
Julian
What would you
Clary.
recommend? Yeah, yeah, or like George Dawes from what do you call it, from Shooting
Oh
Stars, Matt Lucas,
yes,
yeah. You'd be
yeah.
Matt Lucas on one end and then
Welcome
like
to Shooting Stars. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, good
fantastic.
old George Dawes. He's a baby. He's a baby. If you haven't seen Shooting Stars, it was incredible.
It was a bit
It was a
bizarre.
time to be alive. It was a time to be alive. That's for sure.
Yes. Golden Gnu, I'm considering buying my first campaign. Alexandra Bellinge, no beard, can't stand it. I know, this is unfortunately what my face looks like right now.
Uh,
Osprey says the sale doesn't look that good. Well, something that does look quite good is the video that advertises the sale. I think it looks pretty good.
Their videos in general are like ridiculous, aren't they? Let's be
Yeah,
honest. Even for sales, they're like, "Oh, here's a sale," and then it's like better than most films you've ever seen.
we did have Glowing Amram comment on the channel a couple of months back, who is
Yeah.
the one who makes these videos, and they're very, very good.
Hmm.
Byron Farrow, is John Blair old enough to have seen Shooting Stars?
How dare you, sir? How dare you?
Oh,
Uh,
there's Tricker.
yeah. You look so handsome today.
not
Oh,
not commenting on my appearance, but
yeah, 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 yeah.
talking about how handsome you're looking.
I know.
Although to be fair, last week we were talking about how good Wags was looking.
Yeah, to be fair. It's weird with Wags because he looked very handsome, but he also looked like he was like you said, blinking Morse code. He feels like he is like watching that FAQ was like watching a ransom video. I think someone actually commented that on the channel, and I proper laughed. They're like, "Wags, blink 3 times if they're not letting you out."
I think the reality is that he just doesn't enjoy making these videos,
Yeah,
which is
I think you're right. Yeah,
unfortunate. It's
yeah,
unfortunate because he's very good at it.
yeah.
I always enjoy watching him, but yeah, I get the impression he's not liking it. Anyway,
No,
we talked over all the top of that and then didn't really comment about what's in the video. I
yeah.
think it was notable that we got some shots of what I think is Iraq.
Yeah.
This to me looks, well, it has to be Iraq or Afghanistan, I guess.
Hmm.
Looking very,
Yeah.
very nice indeed. The F5, the revamped F5 was visible quite near the beginning there. Nice to
Mm,
see that. I actually really like the new version of the F5.
mm.
Osprey, Wags looks like the Fawns to me. He's more handsome than the Fawns, I would say. That's a little bit unfair.
That's amazing. We need to get Wags in a black jacket going, "Hey," and then it would be perfect. Yeah,
Hey,
yeah, exactly.
absolutely. DCS and fashion says Golden Gnu. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Geo87 UK1. None of the trailers captures the feeling of a 30-minute transit in an Apache, then getting hit with a ZSU 23. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Let's see. What did we see here? We saw the Hornet. We saw the MiG-29. We saw the F-16. We saw some World War II stuff. Nobody cares. Well, unfair, but hey. The Chinook. More F-16, more Hornet, more MiG-29.
Mhm.
That's F-5. They showed off the carrier a little bit.
There was a shot with the C-130, wasn't there? There's a
There
F-18
was.
following it, and you can see into the old see up its arse.
You could see directly into its bumhole.
Yeah.
Let's see.
No, it's not bumhole, it's bumhole. That's how you say it.
Bummo.
It's bumhole. See right in his bumhole.
This actually, I just realised this is the cockpit of the Chinook, looking
Mhm.
very, very nice. I can't see that one. There was a still, there was a picture,
Yeah.
actually in the newsletter where you could see
Mm.
that, and it looked really nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Trigger, sorry, Deepak, I didn't want my first message to come across creepy. You're clean cut yourself, good sir. First time caller and listener today. Welcome
Oh,
aboard, Trigger. Nice to have you here.
yeah,
I do enjoy your videos. I am a fan,
yeah.
so welcome aboard.
It's
Uh,
it's it's just absolute ASMR voice as well. The vocal fry is mwah, it's so good. I love it. I love it. I deliberately make sure he hot mics whenever he's flying in the Apache with me, so I can just hear him just back there, just like a manly kind of presence.
And then
He's the big
all
spoon.
Tricker can hear in his ear is heavy breathing.
Yeah. No, I don't hot mic me. I have him on hot mic.
Oh, I see. That's how it is. So yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have this nice shot here of the C-130, and then that was it
Mhm.
when it comes to the
Mm.
C-130. Really, really good to see more shots of that because it looks rather nice. I like what they're doing with the avionics in the cockpit.
Mhm.
Yeah, very, very cool. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
So, spring sale, go and check out what's actually on sale and how much.
Yeah.
I'm not going to read them all out right now. But yeah, as we were saying just a moment ago, buy stuff in the sale. If it's not sale time, wait till the next sale. It's like DFS, there's always a sale.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Rockwell H. Hi, Deepak. Your FA18 and F16 tutorials are among the best. Love your channel. Thank you very much.
Mm,
Yes,
I'd
it's a
agree.
channel for those of you who are more visual learners than kind of book learners. And
Mm.
I find I really enjoy reading manuals. That's one of my strange perversions.
Mhm.
But I know that a lot of people prefer to watch a video, and I'm very happy to produce those. And
Yeah.
I'll read the manuals so that you don't have to.
Yeah. He reads 50 Shades of Nick Grey, and then we watch the videos of
I like that one. That was
it.
good. Nice. Tiger
Uh,
Moto, evening gents. New look deep hack? No, this is a temporary appearance. The beard will return. Interesting story. Just joined the ground crew. Welcome. Yeah,
oh,
actually, I guess I should take this opportunity to say, please, everybody, subscribe, like, and comment. It's a really big help to me in the channel. And you also have the option of joining Deepak's ground crew by clicking the join button below for a small monthly fee. And I really appreciate those of you who do. We then also have a little bit of development progress all about the mission state save. Now, this sounds rather cool. A lot of people are rather excited about this one. I think it's quite nice for people who are playing single player, and especially people who are playing campaigns with longer missions,
mm,
who have real lives to contend with. This is probably going to be a very very nice feature for them.
yeah.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
interesting story. I'll join the crew. This young-looking creator looks like he could use the money and move into his own place. Yep,
Yeah,
Daddy
yeah.
needs a
That's
new
what
pair of
happens
shoes.
when you shave the beard. They all think you're a whippersnapper. It's good. You should do this. You'll get way more what do you call it, people joining the ground crew. They'll be like, we got to help him get out and get to uni.
Next time, I should say that when we get to 50 likes, I'll shave my beard off.
Yeah.
Uh, anyway, we're pleased to share good progress on the mission state save option. Features aimed at giving players an easier way to set up their own mission context and environment, with basic mission editing skills, and be able to keep progress made by transferring achievements to subsequent sessions of the same mission automatically. It's designed to enhance long term gameplay, providing a seamless experience for those engaging in lengthy or complex missions. Additionally, we are making it compatible with multiplayer nuances. We hope you'll enjoy it. The new save feature will allow you to save mission states between missions. Will also allow you to make mission changes at the save point in the mission editor. This one actually is kind of interesting because
Mm,
it feels like a similar kind of functionality to what they have in the replay system, where you can use replays and extract missions from them, or you can actually replay them
mm,
in the kind of replay player, or you can actually jump into it and take control at any point. So that's
yeah.
already quite nice functionality, and in a way, you could kind of use the replays for creating a saved state, although you have to kind of watch through it to get to the point you want to be at and then take control.
Yeah.
So this is kind of taking that same system a step further, and I think that's really nice. And something that I didn't really consider, that they're saying that basically you can use the save state and like import it into the mission editor and then generate a new mission based on that state, which is
Mm,
kind of cool because um, that's going to mean things like destroyed units are going to be removed, and so the next iteration of your mission just doesn't have them.
mm,
Aircraft already in flight are going to be spawned at their current positions, doing
mhm.
what they're currently doing with their current loadouts. It would allow you to kind of, what's that feature in Arma again? Where it's not Ares. It has some kind of a Greek
Zeus?
Zeus.
Zeus?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like Arma Zeus, where you can
Mm,
basically have like kind of a live environment, set things up the way you want them, and then go.
yeah.
Now, it's not going to be as featured as Zeus. We're
Mm,
talking about Zeus Light here.
yeah.
But I'd never really thought of that. It's kind of cool.
Hmm. I think there's a couple things when I looked at this whole process, what they've just been doing here, which I think are worth considering. So, I think the first thing is that a lot of people who're probably flying in DCS, they're probably late 20s to 40s, maybe even going into 50s. I don't know the exact demographics, but I'd say that's a safe bet. And a lot of them probably have like jobs. Well, some do, some don't. They have kids. They have all the kind of various you know, uh,
Like,
commitments.
if you want to have a real serious flight simming habit, you have to have an income, I think.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, especially when you look at everything, yeah, you have to spend it on exactly. So when you consider that, they probably don't have all that much time. So you might have a couple hours between, I've got to pick kids up from school or drop them off to their, karate class or whatever. So you've only got a couple hours, and when you think some of these missions are like 3 or 4 hours long,
Yes.
the fact that you can't complete them in one sitting is a problem. And I think this is a really good. You could call this an accessibility or quality of life kind of thing, where if you can come back to that mission roughly where you left it, it's so much so much better for those guys. They can actually feel like they can kind of engage with it. And I think people forget that not everyone, let's be honest, you get a lot of people who are dwelling on things like Reddit and the forums and discords.
Yes.
They live and breathe this game, but there's a lot of people who are probably the quiet majority, who are just people who get to enjoy it in the what do you call it, in the evenings or the weekends and stuff. I mean, we already know, I don't know if we know, but we've already been told that actually the single player what do you call it, the
Well,
single player
ED are
is
always pushing these stats, telling us
mm,
that the single player is where it's at. That's where the monthly active, activity is coming from, basically.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So when you consider that, and they're probably nowhere near as like chatty as the people who play multiplayer and chatty as we are.
Hmm.
um they so that the argument I'd say is that, like, this is a real help for them, and I always think like giving people as much ways to play the game how they want to play it, within reason. You want, the gamer's experience that you're catering, but giving them the ability to have those things are great. And I think you were saying also, like, it'd be really cool to do, like, imagine you do a reconnaissance mission with gazelles or kiowas. You hit a small target and you do a reconnaissance on a bunch of others,
Yes.
and then you're able to kind of double back and come back round on you save that option and then come back round, so if especially multiplayer, and then you can do that strike afterwards and stuff like that. Or if you need to do a second strike, you might have a mission where you come in and do seed, and then you might have a follow-up deed mission, where you get guys to actually finish off the SAM sites. So to have that is really, really cool.
Yeah. Actually, you were touching on it there. The fact that they are going to implement it in multiplayer, it could make it a very good tool for training.
Yeah.
Because kind of as you describe, you could have a mission that has, or a training mission that has multiple phases, and then
Mm.
basically after the first phase, you could save it, and then have the ability to roll back if the next phase shouldn't go as you planned, or just to
Yeah.
give the student an opportunity to try that again.
Yeah.
Could be very, very handy in
Mm.
many different ways. They also call out the fact that they're saving all of the warehouse states,
Yeah.
and this is, we've seen this from ED over the last couple of years. They have this new focus on logistics,
Yeah.
so they're obviously keeping it in mind for the purposes of this feature as well, which I think is going to be really good.
Yeah. I hard agree on that. And I think also, this is a really cool thing for, like, when you think the dynamic campaign is going to be involved in this as well. So you're going to be able to kind of relate it to how the campaign is going. You can kind of have a snapshot of where you are.
Mm.
The other thing I didn't see, maybe I was wrong. I read through this the other day. If there's some sort of auto save feature, because as we know, DCS likes to crash, and it's nothing worse than you get to a certain point in the game and it
Yes.
crashes and then you lose all your things. So I wonder if they're going to have some sort of timer or something, or even trick based on triggers or whatever. I think they mentioned something about triggers for saves, but
They said they were going to add triggers into the scripting engine
mm,
that would be based on like total time the mission had run. So like mission time rather than real time. Because I
yeah,
think the current triggers are based on real time, in effect, seconds
yeah,
passed since the mission started.
yeah,
So yeah, they're doing some stuff with that.
mm,
So yeah, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool.
yeah,
Um, yeah. Tricker also mentioning the autosave. Yeah, I think that would be a cool one, because you see this with a lot of games. I've played a game that I really enjoy is Derail Valley. I don't know if people are familiar with Valley, but it's a very, very detailed, well, kind of simulation light focused around trains, and it has an autosave feature that triggers all the time. And so you derail your train or you do something wrong suddenly and blow up the engine, you can just like tap tap tap. I'm going to go back 10 minutes. There we go. Let's try that again.
yeah,
So yeah, having a similar system for DCS would be very, very nice. Interesting story. Your videos help me learn a module faster. Thank you very much, sir. Golden Gnu, it sounds more like it saves state than it saves the game. Yeah, that is kind of what they're saying here.
mm,
Um, So it sounds to me like they're leveraging something along the lines of the replay system. So like it's not really saving the game's state, but it's kind of creating a new mission file with everything kind of where it was. So I guess there's going to be possibilities for. It's not going to be deterministic, like each time you reload that state, things might go slightly differently. Would be my assumption. Golden Gnu, there's already scripts that save states used for multiplayer. Okay, that's cool. Mr. Yeti, John and I appear to be of one mind.
I'm trying to telegraph. Tell me what you're seeing in your mind's eye. Can you see boobs? Yeah, cool. Yeah, Mr. Yeti is same as me. Yeah, cool. We're good. We're good.
The link is working. So
Yeah,
anyway,
the link is working.
they don't really say when this is coming, but I know it's something they're actively working on just now. So it will be nice to see this when it lands, and a very nice picture of a Chinook as well.
Well, we were talking about this the other day. I think it was either in Trigger's stream or mine or somewhere, but we were saying we kind of complain a little bit about DCS. That's kind of our job. You're not really flying DCS unless you're complaining about it. But a lot of people were complaining that they weren't focusing on core. It was just pumping out modules, and I think this is some of these things have taken a lot longer. I mean, the real one I think that is ridiculous to me is why Supercarrier has taken this long. Like it is when you consider Supercarrier has been around for a long ass time, and we still haven't got like things like the briefing room, and we aren't that far with it. That's a great example of like, what the hell are you doing? Like,
it feels like Supercarrier is a bit behind. Dynamic campaign, of course, and in the big one for me, the one that I feel like they announced even earlier than any of those is the revamp of the air traffic control.
Yeah.
And that's nowhere to be seen. Although, when asked, Wags does mention that they are still working on it.
Yeah, it's just so there's certain things like that where you go like, what are you doing? Like I was watching, I think Tricker was flying on BMS the other day, Falcon BMS, and you look at what they've got, and that's not granted BMS is heavily modded Falcon 4, but you look at even the ATC and Falcon 4, and you're like, it's way ahead from what we've got in DCS, like just in what that's got, and and that's considered rudimentary.
Well, even if you take vanilla Falcon 4, its ATC was already better than what we have in DCS, and of course the BMS is improved it massively.
Yeah, so there's certain things. That said, though, I think this is at least an intention that they're going through the game and going, yeah, we need to add these things in, like the save feature, the DTC stuff. They are going, because DTC, yeah, that's for certain aircraft, but that is I would argue that's a core feature, right? That is because that's effectively technology that can be ported to so many aircraft. And so I do think they are listening to a degree. Now, listening and acting on it are two different things, but they are listening. So I'd say to give them their due, and I always think credit where credit's due. They are doing these things at core, and I love seeing this. This is a great step in the right direction.
Yes.
The next thing I think I would love to see, and I've talked about this a couple of times now, is I would love to see a mod manager built into the launcher. So we've been talking about this, me and you, Deep, haven't we, about mods and stuff, and that we've talked about but we might do some sort of like what do you call it, a spotlight for some mods, because there's some fantastic ones out there.
That's going to happen for sure.
Yeah, and we haven't been seeing ED, I think, blowing enough horns about how great the modding community is. They kind of did with that little like user files thing, but I think especially the flyable mods, some of the stuff is wizardry.
Oh yeah,
and especially
I've done a bunch of videos on community mods and covered some of them, but I think there's so much more to dive into there. There's so much good content that we should cover. Yeah.
Absolutely, and some of them aren't even flyable. Some of them are like utility mods. There's some things which just like, for instance, there's things that help you. There's a DTC mod at the moment where you put a bunch of stuff into it and it loads into the F-16 all of your data link stuff, and it just kind of does it all. And it's a bit like when you auto start, it just sits there and you see all the screens kind of flickering away whilst it's running this sort of macro script. But it puts it all in for you, so you've got this sort of front end side piece of software. You put in all that stuff, and it just, there you go, you're ready to go. And so there's all things like that everything from that to like, the A4 Skyhawk, or
Mm,
we were talking about the Loach last week, and the cancelled AH6, and that kind of spurred me on. I was like, well, we need to start talking in a positive light about some of these modules, or sorry, mods. And I would love to see an official mod manager, because whilst we've got, like, is it OVGME and an open mod manager, and they're
yeah.
great, I think a lot of people, again, getting back to the whole safe state thing, people haven't necessarily got loads of time to sit there and to install Open Mod Manager, set it all up properly, then download the right mods, and then make sure they join the right server. Imagine if it was a bit like Armor, where you have this mod manager built into the launcher and the
Hmm.
game. You go to join a server, it detects what mods and says, "Do you want to install them?" Yeah, cool, and it just does it for you. And you sit there whilst it waits and installs, and then you join the server. You would start seeing way more mods being used in games. You'd start seeing people experiencing different ways of playing DCS, and it would allow people to kind of get away from the same kind of 3 or 4 game modes and 3 or 4 ways of playing. And I think a mod manager, dude, I think that's an easy win. I'm saying that, I'm sure there's a lot of coding and stuff to go on it, but from a conceptual point of view, it's such an easy win.
Yeah.
And
No, I agree. Like the better integrated you can make all of these things. Like you gave the example before as well of the VoIP.
yeah,
Of course, SRS is pretty much the standard when it comes to comms in DCS, but it's one extra app to install and configure.
mm,
That every single barrier that you put in somebody's way is something that people will stumble over.
yeah,
So yeah, if it can be integrated into the game, that'll be even better. And yeah, I don't feel like it can't be the most complex thing in the world. You're basically downloading stuff and putting it in the right folder.
yeah,
And if you look at Arma again as an example for this, Arma is a very, very good example of how to do this well. Because with Arma, you install all of your mods on the server, or whoever is actually hosting the session, and every client that connects automatically downloads a copy of those. Now,
mm,
is that the most secure model? Probably not, because of course you could be downloading spyware onto someone's PC via
yeah,
this mechanism. But it certainly makes it simple.
yeah,
Um, I wonder if it should be if there should be some kind of mod signing that goes with that.
yeah.
But who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, you could do like a checksums on stuff. You could also potentially have it almost a rudimentary version of the Steam Workshop.
Uh huh.
So you have like the user files almost act more like Steam Workshop, where you upload your mods, upload your files on there. They get checked over, especially if that gets uploaded to the user files. I'm sure there's a way you can check for malicious files and stuff like that. And then there's a way, maybe it's not a waiver signed, but you say you understand that if you're installing mods, there's a waiver from that perspective. Also, if you're uploading, you sign effectively some sort of EULA to say, if you upload dodgy stuff, we're going to come and get you, kind of stuff. And then you have it work off that. Maybe that's the repository, and it
Mm.
just sends people to the right direction to download some of these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great feature, and it's an easy win. And I think I can't see anyone going, "Oh, why have I do that?" That's something everyone will go, "Awesome,
Oh yeah,
wicked."
definitely. And on
Yeah,
that point, Mr. Yeti asks us, what would you say are your top mods?
yeah.
Well,
Well, yeah,
I really like the A4. I think it's kind of the pinnacle when it comes to community fixed wing
yeah,
mods. I also like the A29 Super Tucano, although it's not had that much further development recently, but it's quite nice.
yeah.
What about you, John?
Oh, it's a difficult one to pick. So it depends on what you're kind of what you're judging it by. Because there's some really well done mods, but I would argue, say the A4s are one of the best. That's like the golden standard, isn't it? Of like what you would call how much they achieved, like what they managed to do.
Yeah.
Implementation. It's the gold standard of implementation. But I would argue something, for example, like the C130 mod,
Mhm.
that adds a whole new loads of new like gameplay features, isn't it? Like the
Yes.
idea of like
Yeah.
logistics and all that kind of stuff. And then the same for like maybe the Black Hawk. I think the Black Hawk mod is fantastic. It adds like a logistic. It's a free. The other thing is that's a free helicopter for logistics, which is really cool. And there's loads of cool little features in there. They've got like the speak and spell, radar searching, and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And then you've got again things like is it VSN, who do like fantastic, just middle of the round, a good combination of like very flyable and well made, but also detailed enough that they're kind of moving towards a full fidelity. The big one they've done is like the Navy Phantom. Is it the F4J or S or one of those they've done? So yeah, it's tricky. I would say probably if you're talking about implementation, A4 Skyhawk's probably one of the best.
Mm,
Maybe
yeah.
the OH6 mod as well. That's really well done helicopter. And I was gutted when that AH6 got cancelled because I thought that was really fantastic.
Have you seen the SH60 that they have? It's just a modded version of the Black Hawk community mod, but
Yeah.
it adds, you were talking about kind of like adding gameplay.
Yeah.
It absolutely adds gameplay because it adds the ability to drop sonobuoys. So it
Yeah.
adds a whole kind of subsurface warfare element to the game, which wasn't originally there.
Yeah, stuff like that and torpedoes. Yeah,
Mm.
stuff like that to me is way more interesting. Not again, not to say the A4 isn't absolutely gold standard, but I find that more interesting. It's like it's adding more gameplay to the game. It's adding more elements to it. So, yeah, I'd say it's difficult to pick, but A4 Skyhawk for implementation,
Oh yeah.
and I'd say maybe based upon what you just said there, maybe the Blackhawk when you consider there's the sub mods as well, because there's like an armed one as well, isn't there? Where it's kind of made like a direct action penetrator version, the
Yeah.
DAS, whatever it's called. So yeah, I'd say those are the two, and then there's loads of honourable mentions. Maybe we'll do like a proper breakdown of some of these things because I think there's so many good stuff out there, so much good stuff.
Mr. Yeti also mentioning the Bronco. I did do a video on that
Mm.
one and I really enjoyed it. I thought that's
Yeah,
a,
yeah,
a very, very nice mod.
yeah. I forgot about the hot air balloon. Tricker brings up the hot air balloon. Wasn't it the Granelli that did the hot air balloon?
It was. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Grinelli
yeah.
had some bizarre stuff in their
Yeah,
in their repo. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
good
And
stuff.
that's another one. The F-22 is fantastic. Absolutely brilliant mod.
That's one
What
I've
it
not
is.
flown. I haven't tried it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. Really, really. I mean, Growling Sidewinder flies it every other week. It's like
Hmm,
F-22 versus a Sopwith Camel or something. But yeah, like literally, yeah, the F-22 is fantastic. Really, really good mod.
nice. Jumping back into the newsletter, we have updates for the campaigns. In the H64D Outpost campaign by Stone Sky, Mission 2 now has a corrected landing procedure. Very nice. F-18C Operation Green Line by Badger 633. A boat movement issue in Mission 1 is fixed. F-18C Rise of the Persian Lion 2 sees... Yeah, I'm not going to read all of this. This is just a change
Yeah.
log.
Yeah.
There was like a hot fix pushed out recently, which was just changes to the campaigns. So you can see there's been a bunch of those, which is nice. Pink Floyd, SR71.
I
I
didn't
didn't
even
know
know
there was
there
an
was a yeah.
SR71 mod.
No.
That sounds like a laugh.
Mm.
Golden Gnu, are there any modern fixed wing planes that drop torpedoes, or is that rotary only? Yeah, there is. The Poseidon can drop torpedoes, as I recall. What is it the RAF use these days? Because of course they don't have the Nimrod anymore.
Does the S3 Viking? I know that's not British, but the S3 Viking, did that used to drop torpedoes? I'm pretty sure that did, didn't it?
I don't know. Don't know.
Yeah, you know which I'm on about, don't you? The one that does refueling and it also has like harpoons and mavericks and stuff like that. They did a reversion of it. It's like a two-seater, side by side
Yeah.
carrier craft. I'm pretty sure they had torpedoes. I could be wrong.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not actually super up on naval
Mm.
aviation, but yeah, there are numerous aircraft that can drop torpedoes. It's not just rotary.
Yeah.
And we've got the Black Angels Air Race this weekend. Make sure to tune in for an exciting new DCS Mustang Air Race Championship, hosted by our dedicated community members, Black Angels. Inspired by Nick Gray's recent feedback, they have improved their race result export system to update in near real time, ensuring that pilots can see their lap times both on the Discord and on the event homepage. Join in for free practice sessions on the 7th and 8th of March. That was yesterday and today, with the main competition taking place on the 9th of March, tomorrow, featuring the iconic P51 and free TF51 Mustangs. In their commitment to expanding air racing throughout the DCS community, the team will release their racing script for anyone interested in creating their own thrilling events. They also invite participants to hashtag fly together by offering a gift voucher for any Eagle Dynamics module as a prize. If you'd like to get involved, please visit the event page or simply cheer on the racers on the Champions 2 page. We truly hope you take advantage of the fantastic savings, blah, blah, blah. Thank you again for your passion and support. Eagle Dynamics.
Mm.
Woo!
I like the wording "inspired by Nick Gray's recent feedback." I picture him with his his voice being like, "You did a fantastic job. Please
They're
continue."
like holding
Yeah,
a scepter.
yeah. He's like brought in on like when they have people who carry him along in like
Yes,
on a
he's
throne, and he's wearing a
carried on
scepter.
a
And
chain. He's got a scepter and like a flowing robe, and people are just like, "Ooh, we feel inspired."
Welcome, loyal subjects.
The RAF
Uh,
uses the P-8A Poseidon, which replaced the
yeah,
Nimrod. Yeah, I thought it was the Poseidon,
yeah.
and I'm certain that drops torpedoes, but I could be wrong. So, moving on, we have a kind of interesting one here. You brought this to my attention, John.
Yeah. So this,
KA-50, Mi-8, Mi-24 helicopters withdrawn from Russian DCS World storefront,
yeah,
which
this is
is
it's a
odd.
weird one. This one, because because when I showed you it and we talked about it, we were saying about how it's a weird decision because it's for the domestic Russian market, isn't
Market.
it?
Yeah,
So that says to me that it's not obviously we've had the cooling of relations to put it lightly, between Russia and the West. So the fact that it's still on sale internationally, that doesn't kind of line up with the idea of, are they a bit cagey about something being flown or whatever? Because if that was the case, it would almost be the other way around, wouldn't it? It'd be like, well, we want to keep it for domestic, but not
Hmm.
outside.
Yeah.
So that maybe there is something going on there, but I tend to lean towards, and I apologize for being boring, but I wonder if it's something actually quite boring, like some sort of lapsed. It's not, they're not licensed project products, but is it some sort of lapse of license, or is it something where they're trying to? It could even be the owners have contacted ED and they're like, look, if you want to continue doing it in domestically, you're going to have to give us this, you know, this cut or something like that. And if you don't, we're going to sue you. And then they've just gone, well, we're just going to take away from the Russian market or something. I don't know, but I feel like it's probably something more paperworky
I would tend to agree. Like, as much as it would be fun to imagine all sorts of bizarre conspiracy scenarios here, the most
Mm,
likely one is that this is something very boring and administrative and legal
yeah.
going on here. But yeah, this is JSC Russian Helicopters, who in the present day own the brands Kamov and Mil, who manufacture these helicopters in the real world. As you
Mm,
say, these were never licensed products, as far as I'm aware. Although I know
mm,
Kamov were involved in the original development of the K50 module. Yeah, I don't think it
yeah.
was ever like technically licensed.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I don't see any like if it was about kind of state secrets or anything like that, there's really no benefit to doing this. So
Yeah.
to my mind, it has to be something mundane and legalistic
Yeah.
going on here. But it's an
Yeah.
interesting story anyway. And the
Mm,
only real statement that we got on this was from Big Newey on the DCS World Discord. Message for now, just that message for now. For Russian KAs and MI helicopters, the product has been withdrawn from sale at the request of JSC Russian Helicopters. We'll let you know if this
mm,
changes. And that's literally all that we know at the present time.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's I've heard kind of people saying, is it some sort of security issue internally or blah blah blah. I just think it's something to do with, like you said, business things, and it again, it's not affecting the international market. So me or you and most, not to be funny, but most people are not really going to be affected by this, at least who are watching. So yeah, weird one. I get, especially in the context of weirdness that's been going on with DCS, obviously with Razbam and all that sort of stuff.
Hmm.
I get that people are probably feeling a little bit like cagey about this, but ah, it's not that weird in the big scheme of things. And like you said, they were never licensed in the first place anyway. So yeah,
WWQ in chat saying it is licensing. Cite your source,
mm,
sir.
yeah,
Oh, it's not the first time that company does that. Okay, right. So
yeah,
you're
yeah,
you're
yeah,
you're calling on history. Okay, fair enough.
yeah, definitely, yeah,
Cool. That's yeah. It's a weird one, but yeah. As long as you don't live in Russia, it's okay.
yeah,
So,
sure.
moral of the story: don't live in Russia.
Don't live in Russia, and you can still fly the Ka-50 and get it tell you under attack really
Yeah.
loudly. Yeah. Watch
Smatry,
ekran.
Smatry Ekran.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, on to the next thing. We have this very, very nice video put out by Veco all about their T-38A. This is dev update number 2. Speaking of people with radio voices, the chappie in this trailer has a very good radio voice.
Hmm.
So I very much recommend watching this. We're, of course, not including the audio so I don't get copyright struck. But really, really nice looking module here. Well, model at least. We don't see the cockpit. That's the only thing that makes me sad. I always like to see some cockpit shots.
Yeah,
Take note, mod developers. Deephack likes to see the cockpit.
yeah. He always wants to see the cockpit.
Yes.
Yeah. It looks. It looks. I mean, let's be honest. Though, I was just looking at some of the rivets and some of the what do you call it? You did the paneling and stuff.
But
You
even
know,
just
the
the
couple of
finish,
close
like the
ups.
glossiness of the finish was
Yeah,
really nice, I thought.
really high quality. The vibe I'm getting from this, I remember when this was first announced, is that they've got some serious like subject matter experts involved in this and
Hmm.
some really mental stuff. I swear on later on in this video they show off that they've got some like actual like they've developed a bunch of software for testing,
They
like
have.
almost like bespoke. Yeah.
So so that people understand how these modules, flight models are developed, the flight model is effectively an external piece of software that runs outside of the sim.
Yeah.
So normally that flight model connects to DCS and feeds its numbers in, and it pulls
Mm,
out key pieces of information from DCS in order to correctly generate all the values for the flight model.
mm,
And of course, what they say, what this module maker says is, DCS is a really big, complex piece of software. Booting it up, testing your changes, make changes, reboot DCS,
mm.
repeat, repeat, repeat. That's really slowing them down.
Yeah.
So they developed basically a graphical interface that fools their flight model into thinking it's talking to DCS, and this
Mm,
GUI can start up in like a second or two,
yeah.
which is kind of good, I think.
Mm, that's cool.
It's really, really very cool, and it's this kind of tooling to allow accelerated development is just a great thing. I think
Yeah.
really, really good.
I I mean, they could potentially like license that out to like third-party developers and stuff. You know, for especially if you had a an upcoming whippersnapper, third party who wants to develop an aircraft. Like a Jag or something like that. If they were coming along and they needed tools, something like this is something. So there you go.
Here we go.
There's the test bench. This sort of stuff's absolutely fantastic,
Yes,
and really helpful to get that get it working. Like, because from what I can gather as well in that software, I could be wrong. It looks like they can tweak variables and
yes.
then run the simulation again and tweak variables and run the simulation again. So that speeds up that flight model tuning so much. It
Hmm.
must be like amazing to do that. And like you said, the vibe I'm getting from this is that maybe this is, even though this is a free module maker, maybe this is actually being used as some sort of teaching tool or something like that. Yeah, potentially. I mean, let's look at this module. Potentially, this could be up there with, again, in implementation, this could be up there with the A4 Skyhawk easily.
It
From
certainly looks
what we're
very good,
seeing.
and I'm one of the reasons that I'm very excited, of course, is because this was the NASA test pilot jet as well. So not
Yeah.
only was it used by U.S. Air Force and U.S. Navy,
Mm,
but NASA astronauts were flying these things, and
yeah.
that's having come away from watching For All Mankind,
Mm,
the thought of getting my hands on a T-38 is really, really cool.
it's really, really cool. One thing's worth noting as well. So it's actually a separate developer. There's someone else working on a T-38C as
Okay,
well,
uh huh,
which is really interesting. And they've got if you guys look it up on YouTube, put DCS T38C on. There's someone else working on I think they're called like caffeine simulations or something like that. And that's the version where they've got like MFDs and modern bits and pieces in there. So I don't know. I think they're unrelated to these guys, but it's really cool to see that there's people working on these trainers. Because I guess as far as if you don't have the SDK, this is probably the best way to go if you're trying to develop like a first module or to get your teeth cut, especially with the sort of. There you go. Here's them adjusting various variables there. You can see in that video, you can see they're adjusting things as they go in.
yeah.
But yeah, this is a great place to start with this stuff. So yeah, it's just generally really interesting. I mean, I probably wouldn't be flying this a ton, like in the kind of like the streaming that I do and the flying I'm doing. but I can definitely recognize the quality of this and the level of implementation. I can also definitely recognize that this is really interesting to other people as well, and I think this has got huge amounts of potential. I'm also looking at like how is it going to then, what's the knock-on effects of this? Is this potentially is this what they call Veco? Is this a
Yes.
potential new third party? Maybe they do this as their first module, a bit like Granelli did the F-22 and now they're working on the F-100. Is this a potential third party after this is done?
It
You know?
would be a smart move. You're like doing a
Mm,
free module like this as your first one,
yeah.
and then moving on to doing the paid stuff would be super cool. I think.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Hey, it's one and fourth bullet in the chat as well. Streams go downhill fast. I think that's when I mentioned cockpits. And then, yeah, F-20, dude, F-20 would be sick, wouldn't it? We've
Oh
talked about
yes,
the F-20 before.
we
Yeah,
have.
if there's a it's not imaginary, is it? If there's a prototype that I think has probably legs to be made in DCS, the F-20 would be it, wouldn't it?
I would like an F-20. I would really like this T-38. I would definitely fly it. I'm
Mm,
one of those strange people who really likes the training jets.
yeah.
So I would absolutely fly this. I've done a bunch of flying in the C-101 with
Mm,
Frantic, and
yeah.
we had a great time. We were just doing like touch and goes and flying circuits and just doing like standard general aviation stuff and having a good time.
Yeah, I can just picture him flicking like switches off and stuff as you're flying along. Just that's just the way I picture Frantic at any point, like hitting the fire test buttons and stuff, and you're like, stop
Well,
pushing the button.
every so often we also used to fly the Gazelle quite a lot together,
Yeah.
and every so often I would see the fuel cut off just like starting to slide down, and I'm usually flying in VR and I can just see it out the side of my vision. I'm like frantic. You just see
Frantic.
the lever coming down and then it goes back up again.
Amazing.
Just see
I
the
love Frantic.
RPMs dip a little bit and then they come
Yeah,
back.
amazing.
Oh dear. Anyway,
Mm,
that is unfortunately all the news that we have for this week. It was a fairly quiet week. Probably the most exciting thing that happened this week was I shaved.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, sadly that's pretty much it. But I'm going to call on everybody to once again subscribe, like, and comment. Give me a moment and I'll do a big shout out to Deep Hack's ground crew. But first, I will do my usual and I will pimp the VAF. So please check this out. And sadly, John will disappear for a moment. Oh, I'm not supposed to have the audio. The audio's copyright. There we go.
Okay.
Okay. So, the VAF, or the Virtual Air Force, is a virtual online squadron originally started by myself and Dot Chuckles many, many moons ago. We fly Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays at about 8 p.m. UK time, and we currently have squadrons for the Harrier, the F-16, and the F-18. You'll see a Discord link in the show notes below. Go ahead and click that. They're a wonderful bunch to fly with. Everybody is welcome. And we're always looking for more pilots, but we're also looking for air traffic controllers, scripters, mission makers, livery makers, and all kinds of people. So come join us. It's a good laugh. The VAF, the Virtual Air Force. Mr. Yeti, wasn't there another JAG video? Nobody told me. There's
I
another
haven't
JAG
seen one.
video?
Let's find out.
Yeah.
Is it on YouTube?
I would be very, very interested if there were more
Mm.
Jaguar videos, but I wasn't. Yeah, the last one I saw was like 3 weeks ago.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, there's a 2 days ago one. Yeah, Skyforge Studios, 2 days ago.
That's
Progress
them.
photos. Yeah,
Right. Let me
propaganda.
see. Where we're going to find this?
Yeah. One of the things I was just going to suggest whilst Deep's looking for this,
Uh-huh.
we are considering some I say short form, but some videos to go think over things like mods and things that we feel like to do with what we describe as a spotlight on them. If there's some mods that you guys really like and you'd love to see either us cover or talk about, or you just want to put your input in, let us know in the comments, and we'll try and reply to them, and we'll try and kind of focus on what you guys are enjoying and seeing, and because we can't, it, like anything, like earlier on there was I don't know, it was mentioned the SR-71,
Yes.
like we didn't even know about that, and we can't possibly catch everything because there's so much out there. I try and have a look through the forums and the Discord servers and all that kind of stuff, but there's things all the time. So
Hmm.
if you guys see stuff that you think's great, give us a shout, because I'm always up for trying new things as well and seeing what else is out there. But also put it in the comments. Let us know what you like, what you see. Also just in general. general. If you like what we're talking about, or if there's certain topics you feel like no one's talking about, what is not enough people talking about what we should be with DCS, give us a shout in the comments, and we do read them. We have a look through and we try to reply to them. So yeah.
And the community mods being the big one, that's something that, as John says, we are going to cover, because I think it is very, very important to the scene, all of this free stuff, because of course these paid modules are amazing. The development effort that goes into them and the detail is absolutely incredible, but not everybody has the money to buy all of these modules, and just the more free modules the better, honestly. I own most of the payware modules, but I'll download and play with any decent community module out there as well, and it just makes it more accessible.
And if you look at like the history of modding in general, like so much that we have now has come from it. So like a great example of this would be like Counter-Strike was a mod. It came out as a mod, which then eventually became like a full game. Team Fortress was a mod. I think it was originally for Unreal, and then it became a mod for Team Fortress Classic for what do you call it, for the Gold Source.
Yes.
Half-Life 1, and then obviously it became TF2 and all that sort of stuff. But Team Fortress, I don't know if you remember. I think you got it as part of. Do you remember the old? It wasn't Orange Box, but you had Orange Box, but there was a version before it. It's like the black. You had the black version that had all of the. That's it. Half-Life Generation. That was it.
All right, I don't even know that one.
Yeah, so there was a box. I remember it was black and it had the Lambda logo on it, and it had Half-Life, Opposing Force, Blue Shift. I think it had Counter-Strike with Condition Zero, and I think they also threw in like Team Fortress Classic. There's one called Ricochet as well, which is cool.
That's
it's
right.
kind of like Tron.
I remember that.
Yeah, some cool stuff like that they threw in there. But yeah, they all started off as mods, and eventually these things sort of became actual full products. So that, in the bigger scheme of things, mods are really important, and we wouldn't have half the games that we have now. But also within DCS, I mean, look at how many now we've got. Granelli, there's what's the one that's moving the Sky Raider? Cuban-Ace, whatever it is. They're doing the Sky Raider. I think that's still going. I haven't heard much about that Sky Raider, but I assume it's still going.
Am I right in saying that Echo 19 or Echo 19? Is that the name of the sound guys? Yeah. They're doing the audio for it, I believe.
Yeah, well, look at them. They did the mod, and then they a bunch of audio mods, and then they basically updated the sounds for the Kiowa. So and as far as I'm aware, I don't know, I wouldn't see the specifics, but I'm sure they were like paid, and it was part of their work for Polychop, and Polychop basically not subletted them, but whatever you want to call it, subcontracted. There you go. So all of these things are great examples of like why modding is so important. And my argument would be, I think also we wouldn't have a lot of the features in core if it wasn't for modders. I don't know if you know. I don't know if this is for sure, so don't quote me on this. I could be well off, but I remember
you heard him, everyone.
Yeah. Tell me if I'm wrong here. I'm sure someone will definitely tell me if I am wrong. The SRS, I think at one point DCS tried to buy it off the chap, and then he was like, "Yeah," and then they were like, "Okay, we'll make our own then." But I think that basically that inspired them to then create their voice. Not many people use it, but yeah. So these modding is so important, and I think and it's, to me anyway, I feel like I'm ranting on about it, but I find this stuff wizardry, absolute wizardry. It's incredible stuff.
It is damn cool. So, everybody, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. You also have the option of joining Deep Hack's ground crew. You can do that by clicking the join button below for a small monthly fee. I really appreciate those of you who do so. Big shout out to Channel Right, JR Walker, Fishy's Canal, Mr. Yeti, Sean IM81, John Bluer, Tea Kettle Barbecue, Whiskey Dale, Stuart McLean, Mangash, this is jumping again, Exorcist, Frantic, who we already mentioned in the stream. Oh, I don't know why, but for some reason my list is scrolling in a really bizarre way. Give me a moment. Michael, Will Wilson, Byron Farrow, Osprey, Snooblaren, Whoopass, Mar Tayal, Laskin, Interesting Story, Pink Floyd, and Samantha. Thank you all very much. I appreciate your support. And we've also had on the stream today John Bluer. Go and check him out at twitch.tv/John Bluer and click the appropriate buttons on that interface. John, I wonder if you can tell us a little bit about what you've been streaming recently.
Yep.
Also, somebody was shouting out saying they want some art
Oh,
streams.
who was that?
Uh,
Someone was earlier, weren't they?
yeah,
Who's that?
I've lost it now, but someone was saying, "Oh, I'd really enjoy an art stream." Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
Golden Gnu was saying
there you
that.
go. Yeah, there you go. So actually, speaking of which, so what? Yeah, I streamed just before I came on. We were doing some. Speaking of cool maps, we were doing stuff on Kola Peninsula, which is cool on the Panther Den. I was flying around on there. Most of my first 45 minutes was basically technical difficulties. If you enjoy watching someone try to fix technical difficulties, it's a good start there. But yeah, mostly I do rotor ops. Although obviously I love the Harrier, and there's other jets I want to start learning as well. No, I can't. Funny enough, I actually started off on things like the Hornet and all those sorts of things, but it's just been so long since I've flown them. And I kind of enjoy rotary a lot. But yeah, I would do that. And then the other thing that I've done in the past, is I stream digital illustration. So the thing that a fair amount of people, I guess, know me for is I did the artwork for the Kiowa loading screen for Polyshop and a bunch of their merchandise. I also did the Gazelle, but I get handed over the artwork to them, and I don't know what's going on with Polyshop, but they could put it out. I mean, I got paid, but I gave them the artwork, and I think that's still yet to go on the merch store. So feel free to go to their Discord and poke them and tell them to put the Gazelle up on their merch store, because it's sat there waiting to go.
Just hashtag more Gazelle.
Yeah, exactly. It was awesome. I think there's a guy firing a minigun off the side. I enjoyed drawing that one. But
Nice.
yeah, I do digital illustration, and the newest project I'm going to be working on is I'm going to be doing some artwork for Tricky Tricker, who was in stream earlier on, and I'm going to be doing some key art for his channel, and potentially merch and all sorts. He was talking. He wants some waifu pillows, so we might have an F-16 waifu pillow. I don't know if it actually will happen or not. Knowing Tricker, probably will happen. So yeah, I do illustration. I like to stream it, and people get to see my processes and stuff, and all that kind of thing. So yeah, yeah.
Excellent. So that's John Bluer. And I've been Deepak. Every Saturday, it's around about, 6:30 p.m. UK time. I would normally post a tutorial video. I didn't do it today, but I'll try and get back on track next week. And that's always followed by the DCS news, which just happens to be this thing, what you're watching right now. Thank you all very much for watching. Fly safe, and we'll see you next time. Ta-ta.